CBS. Is that CBS? March Madness?
March
It's
Madness.
not March, but there's a lot of madness going on. It is championship weekend. Welcome back to Squeeze the Juice. College football, championship weekend. We are here. Lots of things going on. Big games with bigger outcomes. Evan, how we feeling back? Post-Thanksgiving, post-chaos, post the game. Lots going on.
I'm devastated.
Devastated.
I'm devastated for multiple reasons, but number one being Ohio State losing a thriller to Michigan. It just came down to a couple more plays that Michigan made. I really didn't think one team was superior to the other.
I agree.
It was more so just one team made some mistakes and the other team capitalized, and that was really it for me. I don't think in terms of talent, in terms of coaching, there's this big gap. I know Michigan's won 3 years in a row, but when I watched the game, I wasn't saying to myself, wow, Michigan has just completely outclassed Ohio State. That's not my takeaway. Maybe it's yours. That's just not mine. To me, it was two really, really good football teams, and one played better on that day as opposed to the other. And quite frankly, Ryan Day, he might lose his job over this. I'm not sure.
I know, we have yet to see.
But he plays scared in those games, and that's his big issue. Is against Georgia, Ohio State did not play scared. They played like they were the dominant team, and they should have won last year in the college football playoff. Everyone acknowledges that. They got screwed. Dirty hit to Marvin Harrison Jr. You already were without JSN. I mean, they were playing with one arm tied behind their back at that point.
Man, the difference. Always thinking back to that. Like, yes, the Marvin Harrison thing was huge, but all the games they didn't have JSN.
It was gone all year.
It's crazy.
But to me, it's just Ryan Day. He looks across the field. He sees the maize and blue. He sees the winged helmet, and he just freezes. Right? He had a 4th and 1 in the first quarter, I think it was, on Michigan territory. I think it was at the 40. He punts. Go for it. Get the yard. And then at the end of the first half, questionable to go for the field goal. I didn't mind it. If you believe in your kicker, you want to end the half with some points, so be it.
That was a big factor. Momentum shift.
He missed it though, right? And that's a coaching decision. You got to have the trust and faith in your kicker that he can make it. It was 4th and 2, right? You didn't want to give Michigan a short field to potentially add a field goal, right? They only needed about 15 yards, 15, 20 yards. They could have gotten that. So just timid, scared style of coaching from Ryan Day. And ultimately,
the turnover battle
was the killer. I mean, the turnover right in the red zone. They had the 1st and goal, right? That was a killer. And then obviously the end of game interception, great pass rush, got to McGord. And ultimately, Michigan was just the better football team. I didn't walk away thinking it was, the death of Ohio State like some people want to believe. But kudos to Michigan. A job well done. And outside of Georgia right now, I mean, it's looking like it's going to be those two teams, right? I mean, they look like the best team in the country outside of maybe Georgia, maybe Oregon. Like, that's really it. Just the buck stops with those 3 teams, in my opinion.
I can't disagree. Yeah, huge thing. We know we saw Kyle McCord for what he is. Not a terrible quarterback, but he's no C.J. Stroud. He's no Justin Fields. He's no
J.T. Barrett.
He's no Haskins.
Yep.
He's just no.
He's just not one of those special guys.
No.
Not a special Ohio State quarterback that we have gotten accustomed to.
Yes, because I know you can say whatever you want about Ohio State quarterbacks in the NFL. We know what they're like in college, and McCord's just not the guy. We have time, I think that's clear. Drew Allard, we still have, for now, benefit of the doubt. We'll see what happens next year. He's still fresh.
Give him another year.
So we'll see what happens. Franklin might be a bigger problem for him. But, going forward, that's a whole different story. But, yeah, Michigan won, and we'll see how it goes, To me, that's the next step, right? You have to win a playoff game. You have to.
And that has not been Harbaugh's specialty. I mean, it's not even just playoff games. It's just the bowl game in general,
yes,
right?
It's true. Postseason.
Postseason, he's notoriously bad. And is that going to poison Michigan once again? Is that going to be the thorn in their side?
We'll see.
We'll see. But I was on OSU money line. Killer. I thought, you know what? I'm not going to lie. When they forced the field goal, right, and they got the ball back, I was like 61% convinced they were going to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were driving down the field to get the fumble recovery, right, I was like, I think they're going to do this. And then the pick on the next play. It was like,
I know. I was like,
nice.
it's about to happen. It's about to happen. And you know what even sucked too? I'm like, I was telling my dad, I'm like, okay, I'm happy Michigan won. If they could have just got that first down and kneeled out the game, we would have been covered with the hook, right?
yeah,
They had to kick that field goal. And
yeah, that's true. I mean, you were on OSU 3.5.
I was.
And
It was tough,
that late
man.
field goal got you, and don't forget about the missed field goal too at half. I mean, those points add up. That was unfortunate. And when you spot this Michigan team 7, like McCord did on that turnover, it's going to be tough to overcome that, especially in Ann Arbor.
It's true.
Let's get to the other games, though. I was overall 3-2 on the week in the CFB. Now 30, 32, and 2 overall. I'm right there. I just need a big conference
weekend.
championship weekend. Justin was 2-3 on the week. He's still looking good, though. 33, 27, and 2 on the year. All right. First game, the Battle of Kentucky, right? Big Blue
Man.
Nation comes into Louisville and gets it done, plus 6.5. I was on the Wildcats. Justin was on the Birds. Tough, especially now you're going to the ACC championship game. You lose the game right before it.
And you're looking weird, right? You played a decent game, but I mean,
You spot 38 to Kentucky. I mean,
100-yard kick return or punt return.
and
I don't
Ray
remember.
Davis, he was going crazy. I mean, we talked about him earlier in the year. Phenomenal running back for the Wildcats.
Mhm.
Their offense, though, Louisville, give it credit, though. I mean, they can put up points, but we'll see how it fares against an FSU offense minus Jordan Travis. Second game, speaking of the Seminoles and Jordan Travis, unfortunately, not there anymore. Wish him a speedy recovery, but the Noles get it done in the swamp. An ugly win, but they won by 9. They get the cover. Not impressive, though. It was very sloppy. Arguably should have lost the game,
They were getting beat up
which
in
is
that
crazy
first half.
when you win by 2 scores. But yeah, it was just a really ugly win for Florida State.
I don't know what more to say, man. Gators should have won that game. I honestly would have been happy losing that just
know.
because
I know.
of everything going on.
We didn't deserve that one.
No, we didn't, because you know what? It was 15-0, whatever. Florida was dominating that game. And like I said multiple times before the show, once that spit flew out of that young man's mouth and he got thrown out, everything started shifting. Everything started changing. Florida State got that one drive before half, and then it just was all uphill.
That's Billy Napier for you. Just a miserable head coach, unfortunately.
They say they shouldn't have fired Mullins. They said Dan Mullins was too early of a fire.
They need something. I don't know who, but they need a regime change for sure.
Yeah.
Game 3, UNC. How about it, man? They get blown out by the Wolfpack. I was on this program disgracing
Mm-hmm.
and denigrating the Wolfpack.
Yep.
And, well, what do you know? They shut me up real quick, and they won by about 600 points. So
I thought
your Tar Heels, a joke, miserable,
Oh, my Tar Heels.
and downright embarrassing. That's all I can say about them. Because when NC State does that to you, you know there's a problem.
So when did I claim the Tar Heels?
Last week you said, I know when to bet these boys. And
You know what? They blow the
and
one
what'd they do?
the
What'd they do?
one game out of the year where I picked them. I picked them every
Your
other
fault.
game, and they did it.
your fault.
Yep, my fault.
That's your team, and you let me down.
Yep, they're 5-1 on the record. Yeah,
Your fault.
don't pick them when they play freaking Minnesota. Who else didn't you pick them against?
Miami.
Yeah, the U. I'm gonna kneel and fumble. I'm gonna fumble the ball, and I can just kneel and win the game.
Whatever. All right, game 4, Oregon. I mean, they got the job done. They won by a lot. They were 13.5-point favorites. I mean, Jonathan Smith, now the head coach of MSU, he had one foot out the door. It was kind of already established.
Yep.
And yeah, that was his last game coaching the Beavers. He did a phenomenal job coaching that Oregon State team. It's really hard to win in Corvallis. I mean, you're just in a horrible spot geographically and just with the teams around you. It is very difficult to win in Corvallis, but he did.
and he would have been there long term. He changed that program quickly. He's an alumni,
Yep.
and he loved it there. But with the destruction of the Pac-12, everything moving to the Big Ten, now was the time to make the move.
And with the move, right? I mean, this is an opportunity to go to one of the top programs in the country. It's not the top, but Michigan State is definitely a top 25 program, top 20, top 15.
With everything available to you?
You have the resources, you have boosters and NIL support, and it seems like you have a board of trustee unison for the first time in a while at Michigan State. It's been if you know MSU, you know the board is always button heads, but it seems like there's some real buy-in, and it's really refreshing to see. They got it done beautifully. I love that it was kind of hidden
Tom
from the
Izzo
public.
likes him.
Yep, Tom Izzo likes him. I like that it was kept quiet under the rug. Wasn't this loud spectacle, right? I mean, it was we're getting our guy, we're going to give him the money that we think is appropriate, and we're going to make the announcement on our terms. That's what happened. And I love the hire. I do. Now, what is his ceiling at Michigan State? That is to be determined. I personally think we can win Big Tens. I think we can go to the playoff. That's my expectation. That's my goal for him. And anything short of that, it's not going to be a successful hire. But that is what I envision he's planning to do at Michigan State. It's just about getting the right talent. It's about getting the right coaching staff. And it's about having the support from the university, which I think all three of those together, this team can go places.
Would you say
I'm excited.
Would you say you have to give him at least to probably year 3 to start seeing something? Just the way everything's been going on? Or
I think...
You think right out the gate
I think right out the gate, I want 7-8 wins. Next year I want 7-8 wins.
Because the guys you can bring in right away.
I think, yeah. I mean, we've seen teams make these rapid transformations quickly, especially with the transfer portal now, with NIL. I mean, you can basically tamper and get guys to come on your team now. So, I mean, that's what's happening.
No,
it's true.
It's
a little gross, but it's true. And to me, there should be no hesitation. Like, I don't think he's give him time. No. We Spartan fans have had 2 straight seasons of horrible football. It's time to get a guy that knows what he's doing, that knows how to coach young men, and to win 7-8 games, and then to win 9-10 games. And that should be the expectation. That should be the standard year after year, is winning 9-10 games at least, with the potential for playoff appearances and Big Ten championships.
Yeah, right out the gate, his aim should be to win every game. And then you have your big 3, right? You have your Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State.
Well, the new schedule switching up is going to be different.
But if you can win all those games for the most part, and then get one of those wins, that's a great start.
And with Ohio State possibly, I mean, OSU is always going to be OSU, but with Ryan Day maybe on the hot seat, and
will they digress a little?
Who's their long-term QB? They might be a bit more gettable than we think. Michigan probably losing JJ, definitely losing that offensive line and that running back room.
I don't know.
Harbaugh might be gone.
Yeah, everything resides in him staying or not. Because if he's there, the O-line's easy to reload. We got a new back coming in that could be with Don, and then at that point, Harbaugh would be the factor in keeping JJ. So, to me, it's Harbaugh down. If he leaves, then it's all gonna disperse. So we'll see what happens, because I had moments of believing in Sherrone Moore, but now I'm like, I don't know. I think he's great at what he's doing, but he's just not. Some guys like we talked about before. You're like, I think you said Harbaugh may not be like the all plays guy, but he's such a good just like head, like face. He's good at being a face, but
he's a really good CEO.
Yes.
Like, he says some things that you don't agree with. He'll say some things that make you scratch your head. But you know what? He knows how to get the guys behind him to buy in.
Yes.
And, whether I agree with the methodology or not, because a lot of it is we're playing the victim. Like, we're America's team. Like, it's all nonsense. But you know what? Those guys in that locker room just buy into it, and they feed into that kind of mantra. And it works. I'm not sure another head coach can do that. And your point about Sharon Moore, he's done a great job coaching these games. But let's not forget, Harbaugh is practicing during the week.
Yes.
He's with the team during the week. He's setting up the game plan himself. He's in those rooms, right?
All he's doing is calling his normal plays as he would.
I don't want to discredit Sharon Moore, but I think we're giving him too much credit at the same time. Pump the brakes a little bit. This is still Harbaugh's team. This is still his operation. It's not like he's gone. He's been there the entire time.
And that's kind of what he mentioned in his press conference the other day. He's like, they're asking him about the win. He's like, yeah, it's great. You know, I wish I could say I'm happy to be back, but I kind of never left.
Right.
That's
he
what
just wasn't on the sideline.
Exactly.
That's pretty much it. But enough said about last week.
Yes. Onward.
We had that's a beautiful recap, though. One of our best. We have 5 beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful weekend.
Oh, what a beautiful morning.
Fantastic matchups here. Conference championships, Power 5. Last year we threw in Tulane in the AAC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But while everything's beautiful right now.
I know. We could have added it, but
While
it's not
the Green Wave
prime
are
time.
back in it against SMU,
Yes.
they're not on our sheet. And I'm a little bit heartbroken by it, but I understand it as well. Because these games are a bit more important.
Yes. It's true. It's true.
But
I
just
saw
want to
that.
say, shout out Green Wave. They're winning it over SMU. Back-to-back AAC champs.
It's crazy to think, looking back, right? That one Ole Miss loss, and they'd be undefeated. Aside from that, and that was a choked, no disrespect, but choked, no Michael Pratt, right?
No Michael Pratt.
So you're talking, the Wave could be undefeated right now.
Put him in the playoff.
I would. I'd put them in over Florida State because I'd be expecting them to play better. I don't know, man. But we got a good slate today and this weekend. By the way, this is Friday. This is coming out because big game 1 is tonight.
And I can't wait. It's my favorite game of the week.
I mean, I can't disagree. The revenge game, Pac-12 championship, game 1, Washington versus Oregon in Vegas. Tonight, 8 o'clock. Ducks favored by 9.5, man. 9.5. They're expecting a lot. We could argue definitely that the Ducks probably should have won the first matchup up there outside of Seattle in Husky Stadium. Those 2 4th down misses and field goal miss. I mean, Oregon's been out for blood since that game, and Washington's been just kind of getting it done. Not like dominantly, but just...
No, they've been getting lucky for the past month. Let's just call a spade a spade. They should have lost in Corvallis. They got lucky last week against Washington State. I mean, this Husky team is barely getting by, and now you go into Las Vegas with a monster on the other end of the field. This Oregon team is going to dominate this matchup. I'm talking at least 3 touchdowns. It is going to be a bloody massacre. I'm not going to get into the specifics too much. Oregon, slight public favorite here, 54% of the bets on the Ducks per the Action Network. They're looking at this 9.5 point number, and they're saying, that's way too many points. I've already seen Washington win, right? That's why I think if it was more like Oregon 3.5, 4.5, I think it'd be an overwhelming, they'd be an overwhelming public favorite.
Yeah.
This is a really good job by the books to balance the money, but there's a freight train coming towards Michael Penix's way. It's this Oregon Duck defense, and Bo Nix, this is the Heisman moment for him. This will solidify that. To me, it's all but over. Oregon punches their ticket to the college football playoff. They win this game big. I'm on the Ducks, massive over the Huskies. It's just
No money line?
no, because 9.5. I think they're going to win by 3 scores. Money line would be, I mean, that'd be easy. I'd be sleeping with the money line. I'm tempted to go Oregon minus 17.5. Take an alt spread. Just go nuts. I think they win big.
Man, you think Bo Nix and Dan Lanning's like, I'm done with this crap, and he's gonna go all Georgia Duck mode on him.
I mean, let me ask you a question though. What 9.5? Like, I'm sorry. What undefeated team have you seen in their conference championship game be underdogs by 9.5 points or more?
None.
It just doesn't happen. That's Vegas is telling you. This team they have no shot, and they're not going to win this game, and they're going to get their doors beaten down. That's what
been
Vegas
tough
is telling
scenes,
me.
you know, when they played Arizona State, even technically when they played Utah, when they played Oregon State last week. in Corvallis in the rain.
Should have lost.
Probably. It's hard for me to go against the Huskies, I'll be honest, because I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I really don't, but if Bo Nix just starts feeling it and it just goes on a tear, man, the Washington defense is just so suspect. I don't know how they got it done somehow last week.
Against Wazoo. They're just getting it, like, barely. They're winning
tough.
these 3 points against Wazoo, 2 points against the Beavers. I mean,
the Ducks defense would have to crumble for it to not just
yeah, you're right.
punch. So I think Dan Lanning's locked in. I'm a little weary, I'll be honest. I'm not as locked in as Evan is, but I'm still gonna go with the Ducks. So
You're
it's
a smart
tough.
man.
It's tough.
You're just smart.
I love Washington, but it's tough right now because you know, and we've known since day one that they're just the best team end to end. That's the thing. They're the best team end to end, no matter what. I've seen the Washington defense collapse a bunch of times. I haven't really seen Oregon defense crumble. And if they start falling, they just bounce back, and then Bo Nix punches them and the other team in the mouth. So. Go Ducks in Vegas,
man.
man.
The playmakers for Oregon, too. I mean, I don't feel like they get enough respect, but
Bucky
Irving and Troy Franklin, I mean, they're studs. Those are top 2-round picks in the NFL.
Bucky Irving intrigues me so much because he shifts in a way you don't expect him to, but he runs straight downhill like Derrick Henry. You know? It's so bizarre.
He's a beast. He's awesome.
And then Bo Nix,
one of the best backs in the country.
You got a solid O-line. You got a solid O-line protected.
Oregon, I'm telling you, man, I think they're my pick for the national championship. I know I'm a little biased because I've always had an affection for Oregon football, but this is the first time where I'm saying it with conviction. I think they can win it all.
Like a TCU moment, but they're more legit. How they
not even to me they feel like a little bit like maybe the Trevor Lawrence Clemson team in a way, like in a weird way.
Where they can get there, but they may not be able to get over the hump of the high hill.
I don't think America is convinced that they're going to do it, but once you see them and once you're watching them in the game, like that eye test, yeah, they're the best team.
Would this be the Trevor Lawrence team that beat Bama in the Natty, or the team that lost to LSU and Joe Burrow?
I think they're the team that beat Bama in the Natty.
Oh, okay. That's very intriguing.
And I'm only saying that because I'm trying to think of recent teams that didn't really have the buy-in from the nation, right? It's obvious that Michigan and Georgia are going to be the overwhelming favorites to win it all. And in that year, right, Clemson wasn't the overwhelming favorite. I mean, you were starting a true freshman quarterback to win the entire thing for you.
And he did it, man.
And they did it. Now, Bo Nix, complete opposite, right? This guy's been at,
he's 24, dude.
He's going to be 24. he's been at college for years now, which is maybe the only,
but it's one
thing
of those
where you could be like, Evan, what are you talking about? Lawrence, Nix, what's going on here? I'm just saying, when you think about the team as a whole, they're a bit similar. And the public has just not realized it yet. So I really do believe this Oregon team can get it done, and I anticipate them winning it all. I do. I think they're that good.
And these two quarterback situations are proof of the good side of the portal. Bo Nix, second chance. Michael Penix, second chance. And they're older, but they both have the ability, maybe one more so a little bit than the other, but both have the ability to walk into a franchise and go. Yeah. They don't need, I'm young, I'm, 2 years, it's tough, right? Whatever, right?
How about a team like Minnesota?
Yeah.
You're not going to have a top, you're not going to have a top 10 pick, but you're going to be in that 15 to 20 something range.
Either one.
One of those guys, you slot them right in. You don't have to pay Kirk Cousins anymore. See what you got with Nix or Penix, who performed well. They're just a little bit older, but you don't have to wait for them to develop. They should be ready to go from day one.
And you're also getting them on a rookie deal.
Right.
So
that's it's a thought, but still.
No, I agree. 100%. But we'll see. This is, you could argue this is the game of the week.
But you made a great point, too. This really is what the transfer portal is supposed to be for. Auburn basically left Bo Nix out in the street.
He was getting mauled.
They basically said, see you later. They kicked him out. He has now resurrected his career. and he is likely going to win the Heisman, or at least finish second place to Jaden Daniels.
To me, he's a lock for at least
Like
second.
he's a top 2 contender for the Heisman. And if I told you that as soon as he was in his last year at Auburn, if I told you a couple years down the line he's going to be in New York for the Heisman, potentially winning it, you'd have thought I was crazy. But that's the truth. And Penix, I mean, injury riddled, right? Gets another opportunity in Washington, following his OC, Kalen DeBoer.
He really shines.
And he's been phenomenal too. Even though I don't like Penix,
I
don't like Washington.
I love Washington.
They're undefeated and they've had a great year. And even if they don't win this game, I mean, you can't really be disappointed. That's a phenomenal season for the Huskies.
It's true, and if he can adapt to the NFL properly, he should be good. But honestly, though, no matter what, I feel like you should see both of them in New York.
Yeah, at least.
Should be
at least Nix, but Penix.
To me, it's them two, Jaden Daniels and Marvin. Right, personally,
I agree. I'm with you.
That's the top 4.
I'm with you.
All right, man. I guess go Ducks. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game.
I'm going to be devastated if Oregon loses. I'm not going to lie. If Oregon takes the L, don't call, don't text.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens with that game. If Washington wins, man, they're going to be waiting to see this Bama Georgia game. Because if Georgia wins, you're chilling with Georgia, Michigan, Washington, and then you just have to decide that 4, and then it's going to be because of Washington. That's the biggest factor right now. If Washington wins, there's a high % chance it's the 4 undefeateds in the playoff.
Better not, please. I already had to watch Utah win over USC last year.
That was hilarious.
I do not need a repeat where the team that I want to win in the Pac-12 championship game loses to a team that is clearly frauds.
Shout out to my teams, and that they'd be popping in the big ones. All right, anyway, go Ducks. On to game 2. Game 2. In Indy, Big Blue, Michigan versus Iowa. Michigan favored in the Big Ten championship by 21.5 points. Evan. It's always Iowa, and it's always unfortunate.
I'm picking Michigan. There's 0 chance for Iowa in this game. I mean, look, Iowa's defense is nice. It's solid. They play good ball, but they're not competing with this offense. Iowa cannot score, and if you can't score against Michigan, why am I giving you any credit? I mean, Michigan is going to at least put up 4 touchdowns, and Iowa can't get to 7. So I'm taking Michigan minus 21.5. 65% of the public is on Michigan. That's fine. I don't care. I'll take the heavy favorite.
That's surprising.
I'm taking the Wolverines minus 21.5. And if they let me down, who cares? Honestly, I'm not going to go crazy with this one. This is a trash. Words can't even describe how bad of a conference championship game this is going to be. This is disgusting, and it's the final year of this ridiculous format in the Big Ten,
which is good.
I'm looking forward to it in the future, but in the here and now, we still have to put up with this crap. And no conference championship game should be this big in terms of a spread. 3 touchdowns? Come on.
Dude, let's be real. We've known that probably since what? Ohio State, Wisconsin, or Penn State, Wisconsin, those games, it's been just...
Well, we've known since the start of the year.
No, I'm just saying, since those years, it's just been... you've had the heavy favorite, right? Whether it was Ohio State or Michigan, you've had the heavy favorite.
Yep, that's true.
It's just unfortunate. If you think I'm picking Iowa, you're psycho.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They're going to average... Their defense averages more points than their offense on the year. It's insane. It's insane. I think, I think they've averaged like 11 points in their past 3 games.
The only way they would have any chance would be getting like 2 pick sixes.
Yeah, the defense would have to go. JJ would have to start just choking crazy.
He would have to give the ball to Iowa, like left and right.
I mean, they're just going to come out the gate, ground and pound.
Yeah, it's a joke. They can't run the football. They can't throw the football. They can't do anything on offense. So.
It could have been Cade and Eric All revenge game, but hey, who knew they'd both tear their ACLs?
So sad.
But they're both going to be back next year, so we'll see what happens with that. Anyway,
can't wait.
This wasn't much of a discussion. We didn't really need to be.
No.
I think this kind of sucks. You know, they should flex some games because I don't think this should be one of the night games.
No, I'm not going to watch this game.
They should have put this on tomorrow night and had Oregon, Washington be Saturday night.
It should be on tonight. Thursday night.
Forget the Seattle Dallas on
Yeah.
Prime. This Big Ten championship tonight, folks.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need to wait a few more days. You know what the result's going to be.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, game 3. Don't sleep on this one. Big 12 championship. We knew it. We were waiting for Texas to be there. And surprisingly, it's not a rematch. It is the Oklahoma State Cowboys against Texas. We thought it was going to be the Sooners, but Texas favored by 14.5 in the big one. Will it be a blowout or a choke?
So tough because I do feel like this Texas team, on a good day, can win by 28 points. I do. I think Texas is really talented. I think Sark has done a phenomenal job really turning this program into a powerhouse. You're getting those recruits, and you're seeing it on the field. It's not empty calories. It's actual results. Texas is legit. Now, the big question in this game, how pretty does Texas look? Because that's really going to be the determining factor for if they're in the playoff or not. Because as we know it, only 4 teams get in. And if you're in a really tough shootout or just a really close game, a really tight one with this Cowboy team, that's going to hurt you. You have to look dominant. You have to look awesome. And for that reason, I'm taking Texas. I think they know what's at stake. They know what's on the line. They need to look the part. They have to win big. They do. They need it. And Oklahoma State, I think they're just happy to be here. I mean, that defense is nothing special. That offense is nothing special. They've just had a really nice year.
They won the last Battle of Bedlam, potentially for a while.
Right. I mean, they've just had some really nice wins along the stretch, but they've also had some really bad losses. They got blown out to UCF. I mean, this is an Oklahoma State team that I think has done very well with what little I think they have in terms of talent, and that's just a credit to their culture and program. And
it's pretty much Ollie Gordon, and that's it.
Yeah, I just think rubber meets the road here, and the Longhorns, they got to look pretty, they got to look sexy, and I think they will. So I'll take Texas. Horns up, minus 14.5.
Yeah, last Big 12 championship for Texas. Sark and the guys know what's at stake. Quinn Ewers, he's healthy, he's feeling right. It's hard to see them not win this. If they do win this, you can't have a Sam Ehlinger part 2. Can't have none of that. Let's be real.
Back.
Because you might get in the playoff and you might get a reality check. Maybe. I don't know, man.
Georgia, Texas would be awesome.
It would be a great game. And then would you like to see Georgia, Texas, and Oregon, Michigan? Would that be a great vibe for you?
I only want that because I think Oregon, I don't think they match up better against Michigan. I just think that game would be better.
Those
in a semifinal game, Michigan, Oregon for the semifinal.
Texas, Georgia.
Yeah, I just think those games in the semis would be so cool.
The return of the big name against the top dog. Oh.
And you know what's crazy too is future SEC team playing current SEC team, future Big Ten team playing current Big Ten team. So it's a little bit of a preview, which I think would be awesome too. So
I agree.
That is kind of why. That's like a selfish, this is what I want the playoff to look like.
I think it's going to get dangerous early, but I think Texas knows what's up. I agree. They pull away and win it.
So we're both on the horns.
Yep.
3 for 3 so far. And now the big one. The one that could really cause chaos.
And then we'll drop to the trash bag game. We're up here, there we go. Aw.
This is the ultimate chaos causer.
Game 4, baby. You know what it is. It's always going to be in Athens. It's always going to be home field advantage because that's just how it works for Georgia. SEC championship game, the return of the Big Red Bloods, the Bad Boys, Georgia. Alabama Georgia favored in the SEC championship game by 5.5. Jalen Milroe and Alabama are hitting a stride since that Texas game. They had that really weird game in the Hurricane against USF.
Yep.
And they were like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? Jalen Milroe sat on the bench. They barely won. And then he just started clicking. Something clicked. And he hasn't been stopped since. They survived last week, though, in a tight one in the Iron Bowl. It's going to be a good game. Nick Saban knows what to do in these games.
This has Saban written all over
it. Does, and it's unfortunate because I don't want to see Bama back, man.
I mean, this is classic Nick Saban, SEC championship game. Bama's got to have it, and they're gonna have it, right? That's just what it feels like.
Yeah,
Georgia against Bama in the SEC championship game, 0-3. They have yet to get over the hump that is Nick Saban in this game.
Yet they hit that natty last time. Georgia did. They're like, we'll take that loss to get the natty.
That's so true. But listen, man, this Bama team, nobody believes in them. 33% of the bets are on the Tide. It means you got 2/3 of the bets on Georgia right now.
Wow.
That, to me, is a concern. And when I look at Alabama, right, it was ugly last week, and I think that's kind of influencing the number a little bit because I was looking at the spread before the Iron Bowl. It was 3.5. So Vegas, before the Iron Bowl, was giving you a Georgia number at 3.5 points, nearly a field goal favorite against this Bama team. The defense, a little concerning against the ground last week. Auburn ran it down their throats, and Georgia can do the same if they want to. But something about Jalen Milroe and this team, Jermaine Byrne, stud wide receiver, it's just a very gross Bama team that you can't put away. I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to take the Tide plus 5.5.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know if they win. I want to just watch the game and enjoy it.
You're hoping it's a nice field goal win, maybe?
That's what I'm kind of hoping for. But what I want to happen, ideally, is for Georgia to win this game and everything just stays the same, right? Because
this game changes everything.
Exactly. And I don't know if I want to see all that change, although I would love to see Bama in the playoff. That'd be awesome.
Gosh, no, dude, because it's just they're just so dangerous.
I'm just saying. This is the ultimate chaos causer. I mean, this can flip the entire playoff on its head. And if Bama can get it done, I'll be amazed. No. I'll be shocked, and I'll be kind of happy, honestly. But I'll also be concerned. I'll have a very concerned look on my face, but also kind of like, what the hell is going to happen? It's going to be exciting. To me, so this is really the determining factor of the playoff in its entirety.
Right now, you can argue Michigan might be the only lock right now.
Yeah,
only safe bet to be in.
To me, Michigan and Oregon locks. Like I think Oregon's a lock. They'll win by 50, and Michigan obviously a lock too. But you can't say the same for these two teams. But there is talk about both of these teams missing the playoff if Bama wins. That to me is preposterous. But that's the discussion.
I really wish Oklahoma would have lost to Texas, man. That makes things so much better with that stupid undefeated FSU. Because it's so much better to be like, hey, an 12-1 Pac-12 Oregon or an undefeated Florida State ACC championship over the Birds.
It's so dumb.
It's so tough. I don't know, man. This is going to be a good one. There's a lot of pressure on it. Saban knows his prodigy, right? His sons, you could say. He knows Lane Kiffin. He knows Kirby. He made many coaches of today. He knows how the SEC championship goes. He knows how the playoff goes. He knows. He knows. He knows everything.
The last time we saw these two teams play on a national stage was the playoff game, and minus John Mechie III, minus Jamison Williams, Bryce Young was left with practically nothing. To me,
it turned into a Ohio State situation, kind of.
Yeah, they just did not have the juice anymore. If they had J-Mo, if they had Mechie, that could be a completely different game. That was a very talented Bama team, one of the best we've seen that didn't win it all. I think Saban's out for blood. I do. I think they can get it done. And I would rather take the team that's desperate in Bama then take the team that
Just trying to hit that three-peat, which is
just trying.
bold.
They're just trying to win the game. That's
true.
really it for me. One team is desperate. One team is just trying to win the game, and
Yeah.
that to me makes this a very tight one. Like 3 points or fewer. That's why I'm on the Tide.
I'll tell you what. Something about Bama right now. But
Yeah.
Kirby Smart, man.
They get up for these games.
They get up. They know how to play.
Yep. I know what you're gonna say.
They know how to play.
We've talked about before. They rise up when the moment is
They
big.
do, and it's unfortunate. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna believe in Nick Saban and go Bama.
Whoa!
Oh!
I got baited.
Oh,
I got baited.
absolute bait.
Wow.
Oh.
All right. So
I'm hoping this is a field goal Georgia win, folks. This is what I'm hoping for. But you can't.
wow.
You can't have a team that's playing a Bama team playing. Saban's team's playing hot. You can't trust that. You can't. I don't know how that many bets are favoring Georgia right now. I'll be honest. I was shocked when you said that number.
67%.
People don't get it. You think Bama's right where they want to be.
Yeah. This is.
People think they're under the
Yeah, this is-
radar.
Yep.
They're floating secret, and Nick Saban's just gonna come out and tomahawk you, and you don't. And you're like, what happened?
This Georgia team has won 29 in a row. At some point, they're going to lose. Could it be this weekend? We shall see. That is the famous 3 words. We shall see. But if there's any team to do it, it is certainly this Bama team because they are, like you said, right where they want to be.
Right now, it looks like it's gonna be Oregon hopping in there, or you have all the undefeateds, and it looks like you have that pretty smooth playoff picture. It's a nice sheet of ice, right? And here comes Bama walking with the spear, right? And they just launch it into the ice, and you have these rippling. You just have
Yes.
the ice separating, and then you have all these separate sheets of ice, and you're floating down the river, and you're like, what happened? Everything was fine.
I think I'm there with you, man. I do.
It's sketchy, man. I don't want it to happen, but you gotta believe. You gotta believe in the team that's under the radar, feeling hot.
Desperate
And
underdog.
got nothing to lose.
They have nothing to lose.
Everything to gain.
They win, and they're probably in. They lose, and that's it.
I
Right?
mean, hey,
and
you
Bama
make-
teams, this is the standard. Getting to the playoff, competing for a national championship, that is the standard at Alabama. It's the standard at Georgia. But
This should just be another win at Bama.
I agree. I think they can do it. I'm not saying they will, but I think they can, and I cannot wait to watch. It should be an awesome game. Bama Bama plus 5.5. That is the pick.
We're unfortunately a rolling tide.
And sadly,
4
after
for
that
4.
electric game, we have this sad one. This is sad pizza alert.
No one wants to watch this game.
Ugh.
No one wants to see it. This should just be done. These teams can both be done for the season, honestly. No Clemson. No North Carolina. Very shocking that neither one of those teams are on the other side of this.
It's Louisville.
Louisville and Florida State playing for the ACC championship. Florida State favored by 2.5. No Jordan Travis. All disgusting. Birds coming off a tough loss to the Big Blue Nation and Mark Stoops.
This game is miserable.
I don't know what to think. Florida State's probably going to win this game, and it's going to be disgusting. But, the Birds could do something great for the people of America. Yes. The people want to see the Birds win. Because without Jordan Travis, no one wants to see Florida State there.
I'm going to be honest. This is going to offend some people.
Offensive.
With Jordan Travis, Florida State had no shot. That's just the truth. They have one win over LSU. Not impressive against Clemson.
Which is questionable because it was week 1.
Exactly. This Florida State team is fraudulent. They are. They're simply frauds.
TCU.
I'm hoping so badly that Jeff Brom, Jake Plummer, and this Louisville team get it done because I cannot stomach watching FSU play probably Georgia in a college football semifinal game where the other team is probably a 24.5-point underdog, because that's what FSU. Maybe it's not that big. I'm being a little bit of a little bit hyperbolic here, but it would be a double-digit, 3-possession type of underdog for Florida State if they're going against Georgia or Michigan. And without Jordan Travis, they have no shot. So even if they win this game, to me, they shouldn't be in the playoff. You're missing your star quarterback, and you don't really have a signature win outside of LSU. Like, there's just not a ton there for me to be convinced that this is one of the 4 best teams in the country. And I'm not going to let anyone convince me otherwise, because I've seen it on paper. I've seen it on tape. It's just not happening. So I'm taking the Birds plus 2.5. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm taking the Birds money line.
Ooh.
They're winning this game. They're doing America a favor, and Jeff Brom should be paraded throughout the entire city of Louisville after this one. A phenomenal first-year job, and going forward, this team is here to stay. I know they had a tough loss to Kentucky.
Here come the Birds, man.
The Birds are on the rise.
That's a crazy win.
Give me the Birds money line.
Yeah, you're talking about 2 losses in an ACC championship in your first year.
It's incredible.
Jeez, man. And a New Year's Six bowl game.
Yeah, easily.
I think they're a New Year's Six bowl game either way.
Easily.
But I don't want to talk on this game. I'm honestly done with it. I really hope Brom gets it done. I'm going Seminoles.
No, please.
You don't want me to ditch you on the last one?
No, I just don't want you to be right.
Hey, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong too. Sad pizza. Should we run it down?
We're 4 for 5, man.
I know.
Sorry, dude. I can't.
Okay.
I can't. Okay. You know I want the Birds to win, but something trash is gonna happen.
I know.
Something trash is gonna happen.
I know. You're right. I'll be wrong. It's fine. All right, game 1. Let's run it down. Oregon, Washington, Pac-12 championship game, Friday night in Las Vegas. Me and Justin both on the Ducks minus 9.5. Game 2. This joke of a Big Ten championship. It's Michigan, Iowa. Me and Justin, we're on the Wolverines. Minus 21.5. Keep it rolling. Big 12. Huge game. It's horns up. Texas, minus 14.5 for both of us. They got to look pretty. Game 4, the biggest game of the weekend. At least on Saturday.
Everything rides on. Everything
Georgia,
rides on too.
Bama. Me and Justin both on the Tide plus 5.5.
Oh,
Get it done, save it. And then in the last one, the ACC championship game, I'm on Louisville money line. Go Birds. And Justin is on the Seminoles minus 2.5. And he wants to cut his head off making that pick. Before we close out the show, just want to bring up our primer from the beginning of the season in August. Who we had to win the Big Ten, Big 12, SEC, Pac-12, and ACC conferences. Let's start in the Big Ten. And we were going more so off of value. I was on Penn State plus 600.
I'm just going to show the game. So
I like that. I was on Penn State plus 600. I didn't go for the top dogs because I wanted a little bit more of a home run hit. Did not hit the home run, unfortunately. Justin, you were on Michigan, though. Only at plus 180. So not a big return. But they're going to win this game. You still picked it right. Congrats, man.
I mean, yeah, it's tough, Yeah, it's tough to see what the true belief of Penn State that you were pouring out, and maybe next year, we don't know what. Maybe Drew Aller needed just to be like, hey, I'm playing a season. We didn't know what to expect out of him. Big games. His team really played well around him, but it just didn't work out. So I'm not gonna cancel him yet.
They had the team to do it outside of schematically, coaching, and the QB, which arguably are the 3 biggest things that you need.
I mean, if
but
Drew
everything
Allard,
else around it was good.
If Drew Allard and Keegan-Michael Key can work something out next year, I think it's big things for Penn State.
Yeah. Keegan-Michael Key, definitely. Big 12. We were both on Texas to win it. It was only at plus 100, even odds, but hey.
We thought right.
We didn't get,
don't get it twisted.
Tripped up. We went horns up. All right, SEC We went chalk here at Georgia, but I remember we did talk about Alabama and LSU.
Yep.
Alabama was plus 300 at the time preseason. LSU was plus 460. We talked about it. I think we were kind of leaning LSU more so than Bama.
Yeah.
But still, we said, hey, it's probably going to be Georgia at the end of the day. And what do you know?
Here they
They're
are.
here. So let's go to the Pac-12, though. I think this is an awesome one because I have it down here. I was on Oregon plus 320, and you were on Washington plus 340. So preseason,
we're pretty much right there.
We said, look, man, we don't think it's going to be USC. I don't think UCLA really has the team. In Utah, they're already back-to-back.
Cam Rising was
Can they really go 3 years in a row?
No.
Yeah, we said, look at Oregon, look at Washington, and what do you know? Oregon minus 9.5 point favorites, and Washington, for what it's worth, undefeated season, to be here now. It's an accomplishment in itself. So, regardless of who wins this game, we were spot on with that. I mean, we literally picked the game right here.
Yeah.
And then the ACC, this is where it gets ugly.
Our desperation pick, man.
We were on Clemson. We talked about the college football playoff.
Buy the stock now.
We both had Clemson in our playoff predictions. I mean, yikes, dude. It was ugly. I don't even know how many wins they ended up with. Maybe 5.
I think they have 6.
Ugly season for Clemson football.
Maybe 7.
Obviously, now you're looking at Louisville and Florida State. I didn't even have Louisville on this sheet.
No.
The biggest threat to Clemson and Florida State that we thought was going to be North Carolina. They were at plus 1,100. Imagine having a bet on Louisville to win the ACC. It's greater than plus 1,100. I mean, you'd be on fire with that pick.
That'd be crazy.
But those were the preseason, what we picked. We had some win totals, too. Our college football playoff predictions as well.
They're looking good aside from the ACC.
But I just want to – we can talk about the playoff a little bit more down the road here.
Yeah, we'll have weeks because we'll have that. We'll talk about that once it's all out with different bowl games throughout December.
Right, because how about this one? Oregon plus 550 to make the playoff. We both said yes. I remember we did rapid fire. But I also said yes to LSU. I said yes to Penn State. So obviously you're not going to hit all of them. But it was kind of fun to just talk about it. And we had the preseason predictions as well.
Yeah.
I mean, look at some of these odds. I don't have Oregon here on my national championship, but how about a team like Texas? I mean, with a good chance to get into the college football playoff, plus 2,500 preseason odds to win it all. Not bad. I mean, when you look at Georgia at plus 220, Bama plus 600, Michigan plus 800, that's a pretty good bet too. So there was a ton there where the value was great. Florida State plus 2,500 as well. So there was some really awesome bets that you can make preseason. That's kind of why we did it, was because you look now, a few months down the road, and it's just funny to see how the season progressed and what happened and whatnot. But I mean, we were all over it for the most part, especially the Pac-12. I mean, you could not hit the bullseye any harder than what we did.
I know. And one of us will be supreme.
That's correct. So it was fun to, bring that up from the past and see where it's at now.
No, it's nice compared to last year. We didn't have that. We started a little late last year. But.
So just, if you followed along long enough, or if you heard that episode and you watched and you're like, I like what he's saying about Oregon, right? Like, I like what he's saying about Penn State.
I hope not.
I hope not.
I didn't believe it, folks.
Right. I mean, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but it's fun to go back and say, we were right about this or we were wrong about that, and, just to see how it all plays out. But I thought that was pretty cool and pretty fun. But we got those 5 big games this weekend. Cannot wait to watch, and it starts in Vegas
tonight.
Big Oregon dub. Let's go Ducks, man.
It's Vegas, baby. All right. And that's another one. Championship weekend. Enjoy Oregon and Washington tonight, and then all the big ones tomorrow. It's going to be exciting. Final playoff, right? Final playoff picks will be on Tuesday. Sunday, my bad. Yeah. Sunday, yes. Post. Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening?
I think it's Sunday evening.
Sunday evening. Yeah. Probably early evening. Probably 6 maybe.
Or 7, something like that. Yeah.
So look out for that, but we will see you guys in the next one. It's time for bowl season. Peace.